Hey guys, welcome back to the beginner lesson series. In this video, we're going to take our next step with power chords. So in the previous video, we were looking at learning some notes on the neck, learning some root notes, talking about different power chord shapes, and basically just getting comfortable with the shape, moving it around, and learning how to kind of memorize some of these positions. Now, a lot of that is going to happen through learning songs. So what we're going to do in this video is play 5 power chord riffs that are meant to be progressively more difficult. Not going to be super difficult, but just basically adding one concept on the guitar where we might be moving around a little bit more. Depending on the riff and how quick it moves, you might find one more difficult than the other, but it's more of moving that power chord shape around in different ways. So let's jump right in. The first one is Seven Nation Army. So we're going to be on strings 5 and 4 the entire time here. First chord is going to be an E5, frets 7 and 9 there, and then G5, 10 and 12, and then we're going back to E5. D5, down 2 frets, 5 and 7, C5, 3 and 5, B5, 2 and 4, right? So now, I know it's always tempting to jump in and just start playing the riff, but this can be helpful just to kind of get your bearings and learn where we need to go, just kind of bouncing around, seeing those frets clearly, all right? Because then when you hear and adrenaline kicks in and we're like, I gotta play that. But take it slow initially and just kind of, you want to be able to kind of superimpose or highlight these shapes because otherwise the guitar neck can be quite confusing. So let's play that a little slower. So I highly recommend thinking about that in terms of the chord names, E5, G5, D5, C5, and B5, but the fret numbers definitely help. Just thinking about it numerically is also going to be of assistance. So 7, 10, 7, 5, 3, 2. That usually resonates with folks a lot more quickly. So, one more time. Okay, second one is going to be all on strings 6 and 5. So now we're going to have a B flat 5 chord and an A flat 5 chord. So getting into those accidentals, if you will. So first chord, this is going to be Eye of the Tiger, if I didn't mention that. C5 is going to be on frets 8 and 10. B flat 5 is going to be on frets 6 and 8. G5, 3 and 5, and A flat 5, 4 and 6. C or 8, 6, 8, and then C, G, A flat, 8, 3, 4. So when you get more comfortable, you can start to just kind of add a little bit more activity into that. And there's not a whole lot more to that song. I mean, there's other chord progressions, but you could probably jump in and play along with that tune pretty quickly. Okay, next one is a little bit of an odd one, maybe not as well known as these other riffs. It's 5-4 by the Gorillaz. Aptly named 5-4 because that is the time signature. And so we only have 3 chords here, but we're going to be moving from one string set to the other. Okay, so C5, same first chord as Eye of the Tiger, C5 on string 6, fret 8, and string 5, fret 10. And second chord is going to be F5, which is just going to be a hop over to strings 5 and 4 on the same fret, string 5, fret 8, string 4, fret 10, F5. And then it's going to go back to C5, and then it's going to jump to E flat 5, string 5, fret 6, and string 4, fret 8. So C, F, C, E flat. Now, the timing of it can feel a little weird, it's a little lopsided, which is another good thing to work on, but it's very repetitive. So we're going to have 2 strums on C5, 3 strums on F5, back to C5, 2 strums, 3 strums on E flat 5, and I just do that in perpetuity. Only 3 chords, right? But we're getting this movement of watching how those fingers move from one string set to another. So, okay, and the next one is Iron Man, Black Sabbath. This is all going to be on strings 5 and 4, but there's a little bit more going on here. I don't necessarily recommend tackling the sliding that I'm going to be doing immediately, so I'm going to do it without that, just to kind of demonstrate how the the technique of it changes the sound. All right, so we're going to be on strings 5 and 4, B5, D5, E5, G5, and an F sharp 5. Okay, so just kind of play a little squarely. When I came up here, if you're familiar with the song, it doesn't sound like this. But doing this can feel pretty difficult to a beginner. So you don't want to put that pressure on yourself. You want to, keep the focus on learning those fundamentals and just getting the basics down, and then you can start to inflect that articulation and kind of dealing with other little idiosyncrasies of the riff. Okay, so if we do that more or less at pace without any of the sliding, and then G and F sharp, D, D, E, E. Now with the sliding, so, like I said, add that after if you're really, liking the song, liking the riff. Obviously, it's a very popular one. But, I use that song for beginners and, or just that riff, and this stuff that always throws people off, or dragging the fingers, right? It's not a super intuitive thing, and it doesn't feel natural initially, especially if your fingers aren't cooperating with you. So like I said in the prior video, dealing with how those fingers sit on the strings, on the guitar, and thumb position, all that stuff is very important, which will help things like sliding, right? So you have to make sure you have that in place first. And last one is Rock You Like a Hurricane. So here we're going to be on both string sets, 5 and 4, and then 6 and 5. So chords are going to be E5, and then we got a big jump, 2, G5 on string 6 fret 3, string 5 fret 5, and then A5, C5, switch string sets, and D5. So E, G, A, C, D. Here again, we're going to have that sliding thing in effect. It adds a lot to the riff, but just do it after you're feeling more comfortable with just the power chord shape and movement and the chords and all that. So I'll do it without sliding, under tempo. So E 3 times, G twice, A twice, C once, D twice. Now this is not a huge thing, but it does add that little extra flavor to just drag those fingers and slide. That is it, guys. So 5 riffs to just play around with and get comfortable with power chords. It's nice to have a blend of an exercise that you can work on, which these definitely are. Like I said, they're progressive, but for it to also be fun and recognizable. Those two things always working in tandem as we're learning guitar, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. We want to be having fun. That's it. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments or any requests. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.